You're mid-sentence. The words are right there, lined up, ready to go. You take one step into the next room and they're gone. Not fading, not stuck on the tip of your tongue. Just gone, like a door slammed shut on them. You stand there for a second, blinking, retracing your steps like a detective at a crime scene. What was I saying? What did I come in here for? And the strange part is, it wasn't a hard thought, it wasn't complicated. 10 seconds ago, you had it completely. You'd assume this is your memory failing you. Getting older, getting distracted, getting worse. But that's not quite what's happening. What's actually going on is something closer to your brain doing exactly what it's supposed to do, just at the worst possible moment. Start with what a thought actually is while you're having it. Before it becomes a memory, before it's stored anywhere long-term, a thought lives in something psychologists call working memory. Think of it less like a filing cabinet and more like a countertop. It's small. It's meant to be small. And whatever you're actively thinking about, a sentence you're building, a reason you walked into a room, sits on that countertop, held there by a kind of constant mental effort, like you're keeping a plate spinning on a stick. The psychologist Alan Baddeley spent decades mapping out how this system works, and one thing he found is that this countertop doesn't just sit there quietly holding information. It has to actively rehearse it, looping it over and over in something like an inner voice, just to keep it from sliding off. That's why you sometimes catch yourself silently repeating a phone number, or a name, or the first half of a sentence you're about to say. You're not being weird, you're doing maintenance. Here's the problem. That countertop is small, and rehearsal only works if nothing knocks the plate off the stick, and almost nothing knocks it off faster than your environment suddenly changing. In 2011, a team led by the psychologist Gabrielle Radvansky ran a set of experiments that sound almost too simple to matter. People carried objects across a room, sometimes walking through a doorway, sometimes just walking the same distance in a straight line with no doorway at all. Same task, same distance, same amount of time. The only difference was whether they crossed a threshold. And the people who walked through a doorway were reliably worse at remembering what they were doing, compared to the people who didn't. Radvansky's explanation was that your brain treats a doorway, or any obvious shift in your surroundings, as what researchers call an event boundary. It's a signal that one chapter has ended and a new one has begun. And when your brain senses that boundary, it does something almost administrative. It files away what just happened, closes the folder, and clears the countertop to make room for whatever's coming next in the new room. The trouble is, your brain isn't especially picky about what counts as what just happened. It doesn't distinguish between the plate you were carrying and the sentence you were midway through building. Both were living on that same small countertop. Both get swept into the same folder when the boundary hits. Your thought didn't get lost somewhere far away. It got filed correctly, exactly where your brain thought it belonged, into the version of you that existed one room ago. This is the mechanism in full. A limited working memory, held together by constant rehearsal, gets disrupted the instant your brain detects a new scene. And it doesn't need a literal doorway to do it. A phone ringing, someone interrupting you, even a sudden change in what you're looking at can act as its own kind of threshold. Your brain, doing its best to keep you oriented in a world that's constantly shifting around you, treats the interruption as a reason to reset, and your half-built sentence pays the price. Here's the modern mismatch. This system evolved for a world with far fewer interruptions than the one you live in now. Your attention gets pulled in a dozen directions before lunch. A notification, a second conversation happening across the room, a new tab, a new room, a new task. Each one is a tiny event boundary. Each one is an opportunity for your brain to quietly file away whatever you were building and start a fresh countertop. It's not that your memory has gotten worse. It's that the world has gotten far better at handing you doorways to walk through. There's a strange kind of relief in this, if you let it sink in. The thought you lost wasn't a failure of your mind. It wasn't evidence that something is wrong with you. It was your brain doing the thing it was built to do, clearing space, staying oriented, treating a new scene as a fresh start, just applied a little too indiscriminately to catch the thought you were still holding on to. Knowing this doesn't stop it from happening, but it changes what you do next. Instead of standing in the new room chasing a thought that's already been filed away, you can walk back to where you were. Literally, if you can. Stand in the spot, face the direction you were facing, rebuild the scene your brain was in when the thought was still alive. Researchers studying the same effect have found that reconstructing the original context, the room, the posture, even the train of conversation, is often the fastest way to pull the filed thought back out. You're not searching your memory. You're rebuilding the countertop it was sitting on. So the next time you walk into a room and stop dead, mouth half open, thought completely gone, you're not broken and you're not getting worse. You just crossed a boundary your brain didn't know you wanted to keep the door open on. Walk back through it, and more often than not, the thought is standing right where you left it. And if you want to find out more about why your brain does that, consider watching the playlist on the screen.